Hi golfers, Nick here from Untitled Golf. It's Friday, so welcome to another lesson on golf tips. This week on golf tips, we're going to discuss the 10 words of stack and tilt, but we're going to focus on the first two, which are probably the most important two, which is weight forward. Why is weight forward so important? So I'm just going to hit my stock shot here. So I've just got an 8-iron. This would be kind of my standard swing using the stack and tilt golf swing. So the first thing I do at setup here is put my weight forward. And why is that so important? Okay, so you can see the shot on the screen there, pretty straight, just a slight draw. So with an 8-iron there, pitched around 150, pretty much my stock shot. So you can see a tight little draw, started just right at the line, just curved, just slightly over it. So that's the standard shot for the stack and tilt golf swing. And using the 10 words of the stack and tilt system that I've talked about a lot in previous videos, it helps you create that shot. Now in today's video, I'm going to talk about weight forward, not only with the iron, but also the driver. So in today's video, we're going to talk about what weight forward is and some of the misconceptions of weight forward. We're also going to talk about the difference between weight forward with an iron and a driver. So let's first of all talk about weight forward with the iron. So the first key fundamental stack and tilt is controlling where the club hits the ground. And we know that by measuring the best players in the world, this is not just a stack and tilt thing, this is every good player. As they hit the golf ball, they hit the ball first and then the ground. So how does weight forward come into setup and into the golf swing? Because I think that a lot of golfers understand about having the weight slightly forward at setup, but also there's more to it than that, and it's also about some movements that we have throughout the golf swing. So first of all, I'll take my setup here for an iron. You can see I've got my grid built into the mat here. I have the ball position behind my left shoulder. That's going to help me create my low point in front of the golf ball. As I set up here, the center point of my swing is my left shoulder, which is about a club head in front of the golf ball. So as I come in to hit the golf ball, my left arm and my shaft here should line up at the left shoulder. That creates my low point. That's also going to help me swing slightly from inside to out using the grid. So at setup here, when I set up with my iron, sort of in the conventional golf swing, a lot of golfers are told to kind of have their weight 50-50, whereas in the stack and tilt system, we ask you guys to have your weight slightly forward. So what is that? So basically as I set up here, I'm pushing my center of my hips and the center of my shoulders forward. So I'm stacking those two centers, center of my hips, center of my shoulders. I'm stacking them slightly left. So I'm basically stacking them pretty much over the golf ball would be a good way to think about it. Certainly, we do see golfers that overdo this. And what you don't want to do is go too much forward, because then you're going to find it very difficult to maintain that and push off and move your weight forward into the finish. One of the keys of the stack and tilt is that we don't have a weight shift going back, but the weight shift occurs through the downswing and into the finish. So as I set up here, stacking my hips and my center of my shoulders forward, probably an inch. I'm not overdoing this. I'm just pushing it slightly forward, pretty much on the golf ball. And then from there, I'm going to try and maintain those centers forward. And then as I start down, I'm actually going to have a shift forward here with my lower body. I'm going to keep my head pretty centered. I'm going to push my hips forward. And as I go into the finish, my hips will continue to move forward all the way through to the end of the golf swing. Now, one of the biggest issues I see are golfers that in their follow through and downswing, they may have set up with their weight forward, but they actually move their weight back. So one of the biggest things I work on with golfers in the Bay here at GOLFTEC and around the world are some movements to help you keep moving that weight forward into the finish. So in today's video, I'm going to share with you a drill that we can kind of have for you to focus on to help you move your weight forward better into the finish. So let's take a look at a couple of shots here. So this is one of the biggest mistakes I see. So the golfer actually puts probably too much weight to the left, and then they kind of have this reverse shift going back into the downswing. So you may have the weight forward at setup here like I have, but if I fall back and lean back into the finish, what you'll start to do is you'll start to hit up on the golf ball. So although that shot there was okay, it was acceptable, you can see on the screen there it was just to the left of the line. It went 126 yards with an 8-iron. It's not too bad. Some of you guys will probably be happy with that. But the biggest issue with that, if you take a look at the data there, the angle of attack was up. So on a mat here, I may get away with that, but I'm not going to get away with that out on the golf course consistently. I'm not going to get my low point in front of the golf ball. The best players in the world with an 8-iron, they hit down somewhere between 4 and 5 degrees. So certainly hitting up on the golf ball is not good. So what should you do? Well, have the hips and the shoulders slightly forward, stacked on top of each other. Keep them there in the backswing, and then push them forward into the finish. So you can see how much I've pushed my weight forward into the finish. So on that particular shot there, my angle attack was 4.5 degrees down. So much better delivery into the golf ball. So now I'm going to share with you one of my favorite drills here to help you guys keep moving your weight forward into the finish. So we discussed there that moving the weight back tends to hit slightly up on the golf ball. And in my experience, it tends to lead to slicing as well. So by working on keeping your weight forward at setup, but also moving the weight forward into the finish is one of the key moves that not only the stack and tilt players do, but also the best players in the world. So you can see my noodle set up here. So I've got this positioned just on my left heel, in line with my left heel. It's probably about a foot and a half outside of my left foot. And the idea is here, you can see there's quite a big gap here. Now, I'm not expecting to make that gap up in the finish, but I'm going to try and push towards that as much as possible. So when I make some practice swings here, I've got my hips and my centre of my shoulders pushed forward, stacked forward. And then in the swing, I'm going to keep my weight there with my lower body, and then I'm really going to push forward into the finish. So I'm going to really try and push my hips towards that noodle as I finish. And I think if you can get that feeling, have something there, something visual, I think it's important. This seems to work really well with the guys in the bay here. Certainly having something to aim for, might not necessarily hit it, but it's really there for you to aim for, to try and hit in the golf swing. I've had some amazing results with this with some of my students. So as I hit this shot here, I'm going to try and hit that noodle with my hips as I go through. So didn't quite hit it, but it was a pretty solid shot, so I'll take that one. So this is a really great drill to have something visual there for you guys to try and aim for in the golf swing. So the point being, we set the weight forward at setup, we keep it there in the backswing, but as we start down, we keep progressively moving that weight forward all the way to the finish. So we share with you guys the setup position for irons there and a drill to work on. So how does this change with the driver? What do we do differently? So first of all, let's talk about the setup position. So I've talked about this a lot, but I'm just going to go through it and just to show you guys the difference here. So as I set up here, first of all, we have the ball position pretty much just inside of that left shoulder on the grid here. We know that's kind of the tangent point for the swing. It's the point where the club's going to reach its most outward point of the journey. It's also going to start to come up again as well. So we're expecting quite a level attack angle and quite a level or straight swing path into the golf ball. So the difference between the iron and the driver, first of all, with the iron, we're slightly narrower with the stance and we've got the center of the hips and the shoulders stacked. With the driver here, we have this wider right foot position, and also as we set up, we actually bump the hip forward a little bit more than the center of the shoulders. Okay, so the hip center is a little bit more forward this time. What this does, it creates a bit of a side tilt, and this is going to help us swing into out and also hit slightly upwards with the golf ball as well. So as I set up here with the driver, instead of stacking both my centers forward here, I'm just pushing my hips forward to create that side tilt, and now through the swing, I'm still going to be trying to push my weight forward into the finish. So let's hit a shot here with the driver. Take a look at that club data. Okay, pretty straight shot there. With the driver, just pushed off a little bit to the right, but definitely take that one. So I got my hip center slightly forward at setup, and then I tried to make sure I kept pushing my hips forward all the way through to the finish. So in terms of distance there, about 290. That's the first drive I've hit today. So yeah, it did push a little bit. Probably hit that slightly out the heel I did. So looking at the club data there, that I was 1.5 degrees upwards, 3 degrees into out. The face was slightly closed, but because I hit out the heel, it just faded off. But I'll definitely take that shot. So pretty much a standard shot for me. So one of the biggest issues I see of golfers that with their driver, they misinterpret the weight forward. So I would try and think about it as pushing your hips forward. Now, if I do what most golfers do, they tend to kind of set up when they're trying to do the stack and tilt swing with the driver, they're trying to push their centers too much forward here. And then as they go back, they end up falling back, losing the balance, but also that makes it a lot harder to swing the club faster, and it's also you have to lean back to hit the golf ball, otherwise you're going to be coming in too steep with the drive, and it makes it very difficult to hit. So I see a lot of golfers that struggle with slicing because they're moving their weight back. So this is the point here, guys. When we talk about weight forward, we are talking about setting up with the weight slightly forward at setup, and keeping it there in the backswing. But I think more importantly, you have to keep that weight moving forward into the finish to make solid contact, hit the ball far enough, and draw the golf ball. So thanks for watching, golfers. I'll be interested to hear your thoughts and comments on that video. If that's something you've worked on in your golf swing, I'll be interested to hear your thoughts on stack and tilt, how it's helped your game. Certainly there's still a lot of misconceptions out there, and hopefully this video goes a long way to debunking some of those. So thanks for watching, golfers, and I'll see you again next week for another video. The most